We're going to be talking about drinking meal replacement shakes, protein shakes, versus eating whole foods to get your nutrition to maintain a super healthy body or to lose weight and get to your goal or whatever you're trying to do or accomplish with yourself. And I'm excited to have on with us an interview with Stacy Best. She is a registered kinesiotherapist and she's an expert in gardening and holistic and natural health. And that's where we're going to be discussing the pros and the cons between supplementation with shakes, because I know that that's a big, huge buzzword and controversy to some in terms of, well, I like to chew my food. And then there's other people who are big advocates, especially for those who are in network marketing. Obviously, I'm wearing my shirt Shakeology. It was kind of coincidental. It was just it matched my pants, and I put it on. I was like, oh, crap, I'm wearing the Shake shirt. But it all makes sense because it's no secret. I am with Beachbody, and we do have Shakeology. So we're going to be talking about Shakeology. We're going to be talking about the shakes that you can get at Whole Foods, GNC, Walmart, all of that stuff. We're going to be bringing it all up. And I wanted to have Stacy on so we can discuss both sides. So she is a super expert in that whole area, the whole foods, the natural side. She's also a fitness expert as well. And myself, I'm a fitness expert and professional for over 25 years, having a background with group fitness, personal training, and professional master trainer and all of that stuff, certifying thousands of people. But I've really come from the days of following the bodybuilding world. So I never competed and never wanted to compete, but I followed that world because I was a closet yo-yo dieter. And I always was trying to get fat off fast. And I knew the only way to do that was to do those super restrictive diets that bodybuilders would do prior to competitions. So I pretty much was a gym rat since college on, and I used every shake out there. So I secretly used Ensure and Slim Fast aggressively to try to lose weight. But then also I used all those shakes that you can find in the gyms and at GNC, Vitamin Shop, and anywhere else. So I've been a fan of shakes forever, but I'm going to stand from a position of the shakes that I choose now in my 40s and kind of why I'm going that direction. So I have Stacy on. We're going to go through some of the stereotypes and the myths of both sides so you guys can make your best decision. We're both not saying one way is the right way. We just want to present all options so that you can, of course, make your own informed decision on what you feel is best for you and your lifestyle. So thank you, Stacy, for jumping on. Can you just share with us a little bit about your background and where you have your expertise in?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm a registered kinesiotherapist, which is similar to physical therapy. And that really launched my career in the fitness industry. So I've been a fitness professional for 20 years, personal training, group exercise, and which led me down the path because, of course, exercise going hand in hand with nutrition. It led me down the path to become a certified holistic health coach, which was an online nutrition school that I attended several years ago. And so as a health coach, I work with clients to help them prepare meal plans and nutrition programs, as well as their fitness needs.
All right. So you said you're a fitness expert as well. So you teach group fitness. So how did you kind of avoid, or did you get involved in the world like I discussed with you do supplementation and you do live by a protein powder or meal replacement?
Yes. And there was a time where, working out so much and teaching so many classes that I myself went to a nutritionist and said, I don't think I'm eating enough. I'm not fueling my fitness. And so she had me on a really high calorie meal plan, and I didn't think that was the answer either. So it was just a lot of personal, just trials on what was going to work for me. And there was a time where I was a little bit addicted to bars, different kinds of bars, and I would find myself just getting through the day, especially working in the fitness center, with these bars that at the time, it just depends on what the trend is. You think it's healthy. Until later you learn not so much.
So how late in your stage of fitness or age, if you want to kind of give that background, did you finally decide that whole foods and natural gardening was the direction and the best way for you and your body.
Right. Great. So I would say maybe about halfway through my fitness career, so about 10 years ago, I really became interested in gardening and growing my own organic food. I've always been into holistic nutrition and trying to avoid preservatives and anything in a box and chemicals and anything synthetic. So I thought, well, if I grow some of my own food, it'll be less expensive and I know exactly where it's coming from. And so that kind of started the whole trend for me on eating whole food and whole nutrition, and which led, of course, into the green smoothies and things of that nature.
Was there a reason why you decided that you wanted to go that direction? Like, did something health-wise happen to you? What was kind of the click or the trigger factor to go that way?
I was looking to get the most bang for my calorie buck. And so I did a lot of research on different vegetables, fruits and vegetables, or any whole foods that had the best nutritional value. And then I tried to start building my plate with, vegetables and whatever could give me the most nutrition. Yeah. I would start with that and eat that first. And then, if I had meat or, oils or seeds or nuts or whatever else on my plate, those would come next. So yeah, that's what I was after. And really, I was trying to fuel my fitness and take care of myself for all of the classes I was teaching and what I was putting my body through.
Mm-hmm. So if you were in the habit of constantly having even protein bars or just bars in general at the gym, how did you then get rid of that and replace it with whole food?
It wasn't easy too, because I had an issue for about the first 10 years of I didn't want to eat a lot. I felt like, I didn't want to eat breakfast, and then I would wait until I was starving to finally eat something. And that just was wreaking havoc on my body. And I would have coffee in the morning with maybe a flavored creamer in it. And that is terrible. But I would think to myself, well, I'm not getting eating a lot of calories. So it was just education, researching it myself and learning more about how getting those nutrients in first thing in the morning in particular is really healthy for you. And I'm not getting any younger. So I was looking for a way to, I started to notice it too, my energy and my skin and just my hair, just everything. When you're eating a lot of preservatives like that, even when we think it's a healthy type of bar, it's not so much.
So you just basically had to plan and prepare and container transport all of the food for the day?
That's right. So everything was great for a while, and then it became a real drag. Preparing all of the meals for the day, and I was researching it myself and figuring out all the recipes, and again, later I get into growing my own food, so it became this this big circle of figuring out what to grow, growing my own food, taking care of the plants, bringing it in, preparing it, doing all the meal planning, and lots of prep work.
Okay, so that's a good point. So now something that you mentioned, and which I'm seeing a lot of people starting to comment about, is breakfast, and what you were saying was super important for you to make sure that you have it. Now, if many people are obviously tuning in because they're followers for myself, they probably have heard me talk about me following a version of flexible intermittent fasting. So this is also kind of a different direction, again, shake versus whole food, as well as people who follow the methodology of you need to eat as soon as you get up, as opposed to my process where I'm delaying my eating. Now, again, one way is not the right way. You just have to figure out what works best for your body. And for me, I'm still eating breakfast. I just call it meal one. And what time I have meal one is delayed because the quantity of hours that I stay awake is predominantly later. I sleep longer, so that's where that works best for me. But again, I think what people need to really understand is you got to try something and stick with it, no matter if it is eating breakfast and eating really with whole foods or, delaying it and playing around with the hours. But for the most part, everything is with consistency. You're not going to see any change unless you're consistent.
Right. And with my health coaching clients, I mean, that's one of the very important things we talk about is bio individuality. So
Mhm.
what works for me is not going to, is not going to work for everyone. And I also think it can change,
Yeah.
depending on your activity level, your age, just so many different factors.
I completely agree, because for me, things change on the nine. So when I was 29, I was like, wait, am I 30? Because things are like changing. I'm at the doctor all the time. And the same thing happened when I turned 39. What worked for me to shed the fat, the closet yo-yo weight that I needed to, I would normally be able to shed the 15 pounds within 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. But when I turned 39, everything wasn't working anymore. And it would take me longer, in 4 weeks. And it still wasn't even giving me the results like it used to. And it's because, yeah, you enter your 40s and your body just changes. It's like that switch of the tide. And you're up in the north, so you know about the water by the Great Lakes. Like when the water gets warm in the summer, all of a sudden in August, the water flips and all the cold water comes to the top. And that's kind of the same thing with our bodies, is it's constantly changing. And we just have to be okay with change in ourselves and just be cognizant of making changes as well.
Right. Absolutely.
So then you are in the north. So give an idea of where you live and how are you able to sustain gardening and growing your own food in the climate that you are?
Well, sure. Well, I grew up in Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Ann Arbor-ish, Michigan. But now I live in northern Kentucky. Actually, it's I'm just over the river from Cincinnati.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, we're in zone probably 6. So, I'm growing, leafy greens in probably the March to April timeframe. And then we get into the summer vegetables. And then like this time of year, I could still grow some green leafy vegetables, but it leaves, I can't do anything in the winter. Like, I'm not going to go through all that hassle and have a cold frame and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I mean, and I started off with a lot of vegetables. I worked my way up to a pretty labor intensive garden.
Mm-hmm.
This program that I promote, Garden for the Health of It, really is, I'm a master gardener, but I am not a Martha Stewart master gardener.
Uh-huh.
It's about being practical. So I grow all of my food in containers out on the deck.
Okay.
So where I live in the rolling hills of Kentucky, so where I get enough sun to grow vegetables that's flat is really just out on the deck. And so it's close right out the back door from my kitchen. I like to cook a lot of herbs and green leafies for salads and things that are fast. I'll do some simple things now, like, peppers and tomatoes and that sort of thing, but I don't go too crazy anymore because then it becomes too much of a hassle. But when we can find our food with fresh herbs, then we intuitively start, crowding out some of the bottled sauces and that type of thing.
So is it more expensive then to do this whole process of eating whole foods? And it sounds time intensive as well. So what do you say to people who are hearing that and thinking, well, I barely have time to go to the grocery store to get what I need? So how would you help someone through that?
That's a great point. And when I work with clients and help them put together their plan, I have a little survey, and that's exactly what we talk about. How much time do you have? What's your budget for a garden? What's your time commitment? But most people, I mean, everyone I know is overwhelmed and underwater and so busy. So you have to start small, and starting with herbs is a great way. But yeah, that is definitely a concern. Yes, you do save some money when you're growing your own vegetables. I mean, growing your own organic kale costs pennies, but going to the grocery store every few days to buy your organic kale for a green smoothie can get really expensive.
Okay. So we're going to kind of just touch over into my world again, and then we're going to come back and forth. So we're talking about kind of protein shakes and meal replacement shakes and the whole argument for using that as a supplementation. And for me, it's always been a standard in my diet since my early 20s, ever since I entered the gym world when I was in college. And so with that, it's a quick way for me to get, a dose of protein when I can't, have chicken grilled up, or if I am deficient on protein sources and I can't get it through Whole Foods for one way or another, I've got it in a dose of protein. So for the bodybuilding world or the fitness professional world, the standard amount of protein that someone usually shoots for is 1 gram per pound that you weigh. So, if I weigh 130, I was shooting for 130 grams of protein per day to be able to gain muscle or maintain muscle. And to get that in a day is really hard sometimes through food. And you really have to be smart about the food choices that you have and measuring. So you would have to measure your fish and your chicken and your steak or whatever other protein sources that you are going to get the protein. And that's not counting like the vegetable side, like legumes and stuff like that to get the protein. So to have a shake where I'm not just drinking shakes all day, it's just one of my 5-6 meals that I'm eating throughout the day. Why is there an argument against no shakes for you and that you should just eat food?
I think it stems from, it's in a packet, right? It's in a packet. It's not whole food. There has to be synthetic crap in there. It can't be as nearly as healthy or healthy at all compared to just a whole foods diet. And so that is, I think, definitely, the misconception, or for some people, what they heard a long time ago. And they just don't know how things have evolved and that there are some clean resources out there.
That's a great point, because again, I'm coming from the old days. I'm like an old school, I'm an OG fitness instructor. That's what I feel like. But if you walk into, even to this day, I mean, the majority of product, and I did a live stream about this before, on the shelves, and the shelves meaning anywhere you're finding supplementation on shelves, the majority of that product is produced in mass amounts, and it's mostly fabricated. It's usually artificial ingredients, manufactured ingredients, because the manufacturer's goal is to, of course, sell it, but realistically, it doesn't fly off the shelves. So GNC is not going to put something on their shelf that is going to, degrade in a week's time. So they're going to have dust on the top of the containers, because what's inside the container is meant to sit on shelves. It's meant to have a long shelf life. But that's the days back when everything was artificial, fabricated in those packages. But nowadays, there are so many other different options of natural, degradable food. So again, Shakeology, it does degrade, and I can smell the difference of the shake if it's not closed or sealed. It is recommended that people keep it in the refrigerator. The creator of Shakeology, Darren O'Lean, suggested that as well, because it does degrade. It's like a banana does. So it does have a shelf life. But for someone to be able to get the, say, 130 grams of protein a day in whole foods with no shakes, is that hard to do? Would they really have to be smart in planning with their meals and be kind of knowledgeable in what to do with meal planning?
Yeah, for people who aren't using shakes, you mean?
Yeah, so people who are not.
Absolutely. I mean, and so then what do they need? Then they need someone like me or you, right, to walk them through and hold their hand. And we need to spend hours preparing all these recipes that are perfectly balanced. And then what? Now you have all the preparation again. We're back to my whole story and my whole struggle. It's expensive at the grocery store. It's a ton of planning, and it's expensive to hire a coach to figure it out. And, you can piece it together by going out to YouTube or researching it, Googling it. But what you're weighing your food, how do you know exactly? You're using maybe an app, you're trying to figure out the nutritional content of every meal. It's it makes people just give up. Give up. It's just too much. It's not sustainable.
Okay. And we're going to be talking about that in a moment. I wanted to bring back in, because I totally forgot when I pushed it back to you, is when I was referencing all of the manufacturers that are making all the protein supplements and stuff that are living in the stores, the FDA, they don't, basically, you can't really get supplements approved by the FDA. And so the FDA, though, they put a set amount of companies that they're going to audit per year. So there are tons, like tens of thousands, 30, 50,000 companies. I can go make my own protein powder for $4,000, slap my label on it. That's why all those fitness professionals, like the bikini models, have their own brand, because they just pay $4,000 and they can sell massive amounts of their magical shake that got that body. So I could do the same thing. And the thing is that the FDA is only monitoring X amount. So let's just say they're only going to audit 1,000 companies out of 50,000 that are out there. If they're only auditing 1,000 companies per year to test the ingredients and make sure that they are exactly as they claim on the label, that's leaving 49,000 companies who can kind of get under the radar and fudge the ingredients as well as other things that they're putting inside it, not really being exactly what's inside it. Because those companies will take that risk, because the quantity of money that they'll make when they're not caught definitely outweighs that when and if they do get caught, the fine. So that's why they'll take that risk. So to choose to add a supplement or a shake, I would think that people would be a little bit want to research it and be smart about it as well, and make sure that they really are feeling comfortable with the choice that they're taking. So the next thing I kind of wanted to go into, and we are of course going to be revealing your secret as well, but what was your life pretty much like? You and I met online, and I don't know exactly how our relationship started, but our initial conversations were really about your lifestyle and the whole preparation of cleaning all the vegetables and shopping for them, and your everyday morning process of having your green smoothie. So you stood from this position that is a great way to live, and everyone should really kind of just do that. Like, why wouldn't everybody want to live healthfully and make a green smoothie every day? It's easy to do. It's just vegetables, produce that you have in your refrigerator. So how did you kind of think, like, go to that mindset before you kind of started working through things differently? What was your mindset on that and helping people to do that?
Right. So I just kind of felt like it was a suck it up. This is a healthy option. So what? It takes some time. And if you're really serious about it, you might grow some of your own food. And, I still do feel that way in general, but I just kind of sucked it up and had like a system down pat where every morning I was creating this green smoothie, and I just accepted that it was really a hardship because it was worth it. It was worth it to me, and I felt that it was really healthful, and that there was an alternative that kind of passed my standard, right? That would meet my standard. So, yeah.
So when you were helping,
I would coach everyone else to do that too, right? I would coach all of them. Look, this is the best way. This is super important.
It's easy, right? You just throw things in a mixer, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So when I'm just going to bring this up, if you told me that the only way for me to live healthy, and I'm a fitness professional, and this is something you and I discussed on the phone, I'm a fitness professional. I know better. I know I'm not supposed to eat processed foods. I know I'm not supposed to eat Cheez-Its. I know I'm not supposed to eat chocolate chip cookies. I know that that's kind of bad stuff for my body because it causes inflammation. I know. That's why I go to the chiropractor and acupuncture tomorrow. But like, if you told me to garden, how can I garden when everything dies in my house? Everything dies in my house. Like, this is how I have to live, fake. Because I can't keep plants alive in my house. And now you want me to garden and try to keep those things alive when I barely have time to even water this thing. So is it realistic then for me, where I personally hate washing vegetables? So I don't do a great job with buying a lot of whole foods. I'll do a lot of frozen, or I don't do many because I'll do the same ones. So I don't have a wide variety, should I say. Like, I'll just have broccoli all the time. So my diet is so limited on color because of ease. And here I am, a fitness professional. I've got 2 kids, obviously got a full-time position. So I'm someone that's supposed to be doing what you're saying I should be doing. I'm supposed to be telling people to do that too, but then I'm not. So how is it realistic then for the general population who kind of lives worse than my choices to do what you're saying they should do?
It's so true. And the majority of people, it doesn't fit their lifestyle. And if it does, it's only for a short period of time, and then they fall off the wagon. And that's not what I'm about. I want to help people for the long term and really help them, change their lifestyle and incorporate different routines throughout their day that, that aren't debilitating, that aren't a struggle, that just fit right in, that are realistic. And so, yeah, it's so true. And then, it's more than just making the smoothie, like you said. It's, if we're talking about gardening, that's another piece. If we can save I'll say this, if we can save some time with the meal preparation and the planning and the hiring the coach to put the meal plans together, then maybe there is some time to do some very simple gardening. But yeah, to your point, it's not sustainable. It's leaving a huge population out of my reach, right? Because they're just not willing to do that. They know themselves already. It's not going to happen, Stacey. I think you're fun and your message is good, but good luck with that, girl, because I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely.
But here's the thing. So we've discussed this, and we'll talk a little bit more into it. We know that it's not that people are going to be either this or that, because even my own self, I'm in that process of better choices as I keep getting older and making wiser choices. So it's hard to tell someone to cut everything off, and you're either eating processed or you're either eating whole. It's a movement towards. So if you took a podium and you stood on it and you're like, you got to garden and you got to only eat whole foods to be healthy, that's a hard place to stand from, because just like you said, you're limiting your reach to help people live a healthier life to a very, very small population, because the majority of this obese nation, which is 70% overweight. So our nation, U.S. Nation, is 70% overweight today, and that's from CNN. So if that is the ratio, that means that the majority of the people know. They know they're supposed to be eating healthier. They know they shouldn't be going to fast food, because that's what people always say. They eat dinner out, or if they're at a party and they're like, I know I shouldn't be having this, but, and I said it myself. So if the majority of the world still wants to have their vices, their alcohol and processed foods and the desserts and all that type of stuff, we just have to help people understand it doesn't need to be an all or nothing. It's just progressively making better choices, because they constantly keep compounding on each other, and you start having a bigger, better choice in your life, which is something that you and I kind of discussed while we were talking about when you were deciding to become a Beachbody coach or not. So what was your reasons why you were kind of not thinking Beachbody coaching was for you then?
Well, first of all, I hadn't done the research yet or really looked into what are the ingredients and, what is in this little packet. And I hadn't even tried it yet. I didn't know what it tasted like. I didn't know enough about it, but I said, can I do this and not do Shakeology, or not talk about Shakeology, or not get involved with it, which of course now I know is silly, but that's really where my mindset was at the time, which tells us, how far removed. I mean, it was like against my belief system, I guess, at that point in time. I just felt like, you have to get these raw enzymes in there, and it's the only way. And now when I look at it, what I feel is, the main point of my programs and how I like to help people is start with one thing, get the nutrition in, and then you'll intuitively, like I said, start to crowd out the junk later in the day. If you get your workout in and you drink your Shakeology and you get the nutrition in, then you're setting yourself up for success, because you're just getting in a routine and it's front of mind. And even if you do fall off the wagon and have, some food you shouldn't have, or a couple glasses of wine while you're making dinner, whatever the case may be.
A couple.
Right, your nutrition is in there, right? So you're set, and that's a huge, very important, gigantic step in the right direction. And that's what's important. Not being perfect. I'm not a perfect gardener. I kill stuff myself for sure. Do I blog and talk about that? No, I don't. But I absolutely do. And, it's all real. This is a real world. So,
So in the end, you did decide to join as a Beachbody coach. And it was because you and I discussing this, and in our conversations, I was candid because I'm very truthful in letting people know when you ask that question about can you be successful as a coach and not drink Shakeology and not represent it and not stand for it. I was honest in letting you know that it's something you want to be very familiar with, but it is the number one continuity product from Beachbody. And it's the number one continuity product for sales, not from the distributors, which a lot of other network marketing companies that do offer supplementation, the majority of the sales or the output of the product is purchased by the reps because the reps all have to drink it so that they could sell it. But this is actually the opposite. We actually have the largest customer base producing the most sales and output for Shakeology out of the company as opposed to the actual reps that are drinking it. And so when you were deciding, I said, it may not be for you. You can still do your whole foods, but you need to have an experience with it. And I just don't think that you should ever cross anything off, anything as being an absolute not, unless it's obviously super harmful for your body, because that one thing might be the one thing, like you said, that someone can change in their day, their life, that will start moving them towards that better decision and lifestyle. So after you got started, so you decided, let me go with this. I'm going to start. You got your own shake and you started to use it. So tell us what your morning was like prior to being a coach without Shakeology. And then now tell us what you do and give me what you told me on the phone after like you've been a coach for a couple weeks and we were talking.
Sure. So I'd be laying in bed like, okay, I got to get up and okay, do I have enough kale? Do I have this? Oh no, I don't have that. So I'm going to have to compromise. What am I going to do? It's going to taste like crap. Okay. All right. So all that would be running through my mind. And, I was really efficient. I had everything in baskets right, near my Vitamix and all that fun stuff. So I was efficient as possible. And it was just a hassle. And another thing that, I wanted to mention is we have to be really careful when you're making green smoothies because you can get way too many calories in there. Mm-hmm. You're just like, okay, bananas. No, it's not sweet enough. More banana, apples, then you start adding in those superfood goodies like I like to do. That's a lot of calories and it's a ton of sugar. Mm-hmm. Even toast, and on an empty stomach, is that the best thing? Mm-hmm. Probably not. And so you can add protein, of course. But anyway, so then when I started using Shakeology, I thought, well, you know what? I can still, I love my kale. It's the number one nutrient in food. So I even add a little bit of that into Shakeology. And you can, there are different recipes. And it's still, you can make it your own. It tastes amazing every single time. That doesn't change. And just so much faster. And taking it on the go because the green smoothie, you can't, you can refrigerate it for a while, but after just a few short hours, it starts losing its nutritional content. And then eventually it starts to go rancid. So, having it later in the day or that evening and certainly the next day doesn't usually work. Anyway, taking it on the go is, and with all my travel, I travel a lot, and that has been a game changer. Mm. And then one last thing I'll mention is my husband. Mm-hmm. He's in the fitness industry as well, in sales, and he doesn't eat vegetables. He's a healthy boy. I don't know if he can hear me in the other room or not. He will tell these stories, but here I am, this master gardener, health coach, right? And he won't eat any vegetables. So I chop up broccoli and hide it in his food like he would for a child and all these things. And I try to get him to eat drink my green smoothies. Never going to happen. Never. And so now with Shakeology, just like you feel like with your kids. I know I'm getting like something nutritious down him, and he loves it. He loves it. He's totally in himself too. So the kids love it. I couldn't, it's great.
Now we're saying Shakeology because obviously she's a coach with Beachbody as well as myself, but Shakeology may not be the choice that you may want. Now I stand behind it because again, I've done a lot of my research and know exactly what's in that product and it being 100% natural, especially with the sugar. The sugars are something of concern for a lot of people and they don't really understand sugar because they're just so used to looking at like total grams and then reading what it says. But the total grams of sugar in different things are made from different ways. And so the sweetener for Shakeology is all natural with beet cane and stevia. So there's no like white cane sugar, which people are typically thinking, which would raise your insulin levels. So Shakeology doesn't raise your insulin levels. But if you're finding another shake that is completely natural and has the probiotics, prebiotics, and it works for you, choose which one and which company is best for you. This is the one that is best for us. We're not saying you have to choose that one. We just both have agreed. And again, Stacy just really doing a lot of her own research and figuring it out. This works for her. So that makes me feel better too, knowing her background, that this is one for choice. But just always making sure that you really have an understanding of what you are putting in your body. Because again, when you do get older, things do change. I had a quick question. What was it about? You were talking about the calories. That's a good point because I know, like for instance, if I'm grabbing like a tablespoon of chia seeds, I look at how many calories are in that and the other ingredients, and I'm thinking how easy that is to constantly load up these shakes. That you can let them get carried away, but you don't think about it because you just keep thinking, it's healthy for you. It's healthy for you. And that's like my mindset when I go to Whole Foods and you just choose out of the prepared foods, anything that's there because you're buying it from Whole Foods. It's healthy for you. Well, not everything's healthy there. But the other thing I wanted to bring up is you're not saying that you don't make your own green smoothies anymore. Like you still do. You can do both, right?
That's exactly right. Of course I do. So, I'm growing kale and spinach and all of that fun stuff right now. And I'll even put beets in there sometimes. It's just not every morning. And it's become a lot more fun than it used to be for me. Maybe a few times a week I'll have a green smoothie, and I'm just more aware of, what I'm putting in there and paying more attention to the calories. And, I noticed been paying closer attention to how I feel afterwards and make sure it's balanced, with some protein and maybe even, say coconut oil or something along those lines to offset the fructose there. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So anything else then you might want to add in terms of so you're pretty much starting your business as a coach. How long have you been a coach for? About a couple months or so?
Right.
Yeah. So you really haven't gone out strong with this because you first needed to have an experience with it, as then also having that shock and surprise with your husband having an experience, a positive one too. So realistically, for you to go and help people prior to being a coach, majority of the time you would help them one by one, kind of setting up each meal plan and like workout programming. Like you'd create each one for each person. Is that what you would do?
Yes. And so, the health coaching training program that I went through was so thorough, which, I love, but again, it's unrealistic. The programs would be 6 months long. So you would meet with a client every 2 weeks and try to slowly get them to change every piece of their lifestyle over 6 months and building these meal plans and these complicated, what I see, just because this is what I do, is pretty easy.
Yeah.
But it's throws a stick in your spokes for your daily activities because it's just so much work. And, it becomes expensive. It's a huge time commitment on the client's part. It's just unrealistic. It's not sustainable. Even if they make it all the way through the end of the program, are they really going to, keep all of that up, all of those little details? And with the workouts, that's really tough when you're a one-on-one coach. That can get really expensive because it takes a lot of time and effort to customize a program one-on-one like that. So what I've loved about, everything Beachbody is that I can help people and help them customize what workout is, will work best for them. If they have a knee injury, a low back problem, anything going on there, what program works best for them? What are their goals? Is it weight loss? Is it maintaining? Is it just they want more energy?
Yeah.
You can find a workout that works. And then as far as the Shakeology is concerned, it is a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what works is something that is super easy. It's easy to follow, that's affordable, and that you can sustain over time and you don't get bored with. That happens too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just feel bored and give up when you're bored.
Yeah, that's it. Well, my mentality was always this, is when I was, trying to drop weight or get healthy, for the visual, like either if I was doing a photo shoot or a video shoot or something, I would know when that end date was. And when that end date and time happened, I was first in line at Starbucks. I was making chocolate chip cookies at home. I was kind of, stocking up and piling all the stuff that I was restricting and trying to not eat and force myself for willpower of not having, because then I would just binge out on it. And for the most part, and this is just me being honest, I would say, okay, I'm just going to do it this weekend. But that weekend always transferred into the next week, because you'd start on Monday again eating clean, but by Monday afternoon, when you hit that crash, you then give in. And it just constantly kept dominoing. And that's why I would constantly be in that 15 to 20 pound yo-yo, because of that constant super restriction to, release the gate, and then trying to constantly, grab on again. And it was always such a struggle for myself. But when you're trying to work one-on-one with someone, like you said, the time commitment and the meal planning and trying to get them to adjust their habits and stuff, what kind of, how would you give them ideas for working out? Would you be actually creating the videos yourself and giving them to them? Or what did you advise for the workouts?
I was mostly just, a couple different things. I would either personal train them one-on-one, or, which I don't have a lot of time to do anymore. Or I would just customize a program, go through it with them a couple times and send them on their way and for X amount of time. And then they come back and, we do it again. But that's not that fun, because now you're home with your workout plan. It's boring. Are you really motivated to do that? It's just you against yourself. It's so easy to blow that off.
So when you were training people, what was kind of the follow-up or the percentage of people that were successful with following your meal planning and your workout program for 2 weeks perfectly? How was that?
Yeah, not good. They're, I don't want to say I didn't have successful clients, because I certainly did. But it's just when you feel like you have to be perfect and there's all this pressure, and, when you have to be accountable to somebody, I think that's very helpful. Mm-hmm. But then on the opposite side, you're just like, oh my gosh, she wants me to do way too much and I can't deliver. And I just quit. Quit. And I'm just not going to do it. So, and I could almost read the signs and see the excuses coming and know what was going to happen. And at the end of the day, I think I shared this with you, a few weeks in after meeting you, is that, I just wanted something that was going to be successful. And I've been doing this, again, 20 years. And what I know now is it has to be simple. And you know what else? Mm-hmm. It can't be a workout that, even me, during the workday, I have this little voice nagging, going, you haven't worked out yet. You have to work out. Oh my God, your life sucks. Oh my God.
Right.
You're almost done with work, but who cares? Because now you got to work out. Mm-hmm. And you have all these other things you still have to do too. But when I know it's just 30 minutes, and this is for my own personal workout now, doing some of these workouts, then it's no big deal. That voice goes away, and it's no big deal. And I think it's the same for clients and, just the population in general, that getting a workout in 30 minutes in and out, done and done, that is totally doable. I would say we can totally do that.
Yeah.
Most days of the week, 30 minutes, we can totally do that and get some dense nutrition in every single day, and don't stress out too much about keeping your diet perfect, all day, every day. Then it feels realistic and we can do it.
Yeah, I agree. And the aspect with the workouts, like you said, there's multiple options. You just got to fit someone into the right one, but it does need to be super simple, and where they don't need to think. Realistically, you just follow a calendar. It's telling you which one to do. You basically just follow along. Even if you were following along and not giving your best effort, you're at least doing it, setting that pace and that habit. And it's always going to just build on itself, and you will become stronger. And then eventually start to see those results when you combine, the accountability. And that's why challenge groups are good, but the workouts and definitely the nutrition as well. So the final thing that we kind of want to talk about then, as we wrap this up, is why then would someone like you, why would they want to consider maybe adding this as an option? Because this is, for instance, being a coach is not saying that you just now wiped away all your beliefs of whole foods and everything that you really have studied and coached people with. Because like you said, you have a lot of success and a lot of successful people who've changed their life through your processes. Why would someone want to consider doing this as a coach who has your type of a background and using this kind of like as another tool in a toolbox?
Right. Good question. So there's not enough hours in the day. I do have a full-time job and, overseeing corporate fitness centers. And then for fun, because I'm passionate about health and fitness and wellness, I was coaching on the side. But there's only so many hours in the day. So I can only reach a certain amount of people coaching one-on-one like that. With Beachbody, what I've been loving is the interaction with groups of people and helping people directly one-on-one, but in a group setting, and you're just kind of coaching them along, and the resources are there to just plug and play. Direct them to the resources and then kind of coach them through it. Really, you're the cheerleader through it. You're just a support system. And the community, I think, is huge. When it's, the one-on-one coaching, I didn't feel that I didn't have that community there. And it's just very positive and so much fun to see people have results. I don't want to say immediately, but within a couple weeks, people are loving it and seeing changes and creating habits and not feeling overwhelmed. And I love the benefits that, I'm hearing from all the people I've connected with so far. And, the friendships and I don't know, it's just been a ton of fun and a different angle than anything I've done in the last 20 years in the fitness industry.
Yeah. But today people are changing. So the way that they're consuming information, for instance, the majority of people who are trying to get into changing their lifestyle, losing weight, and trying to find a workout, where a lot of them are getting their information is just by Googling and finding someone on YouTube who looks good and then follows whatever that person is offering on their channel. And you really don't have an understanding of exactly who you're following all the time, and who knows if it's effective or safe, or if this is just a person who's got a great body and is just throwing together some exercises. So I think that people just have to be careful, of course, of how they're getting their information, and just make sure that they always research any company or product or coach or whomever before they're actually making that decision to move forward. But I think, and I could speak for myself, but I would say the exact same for you, as being a fitness professional, and you're a fitness professional, you're a nutrition expert. You don't need to be a nutrition or fitness expert to be a coach, because again, the systems are completely there. You just basically have to point people to the one that fits what they are looking to do. But that brings me up to another point, is I know for myself, and I would guess the same for you, that I would never push someone into a product or Shakeology if it's not the right fit. I always want to make sure that no matter what choice they are making, it's the right choice for where they are and where they want to go, but not for my benefit or my pocket or any of that. Would you agree?
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. And I love what you said, to kick that last piece off around, you're a coach. You're not a fitness expert. You're a cheerleader, really. You're a motivator. You're a mentor. You're a leader. Everyone has a little piece of that in them. And it feels so good to fire that up and get that spark going. But yes, I agree with you. Just like I was saying with regular health coaching and the bio-individuality, everyone has, a different standpoints. So if it's not the right fit, it's totally fine. And but I'm with you. Take the time to do the research. Research every ingredient on packages, if depending on what you're looking at, and make sure that the fitness programs are vetted. And that's what I love about Beachbody. I feel really comfortable because that's a big deal in our industry. To your point on, whoever you're following, just because they look good, whatever they're promoting might not even be what got them to that I'll just say physique. But make sure the programs are vetted.
Mm-hmm. So why don't you share how people can, first of all, you have a book. How can they find more information on your book, especially if they are interested in eating more holistically, whole foods, and gardening as well? So why don't you share how people can get your information and also get in touch with you if they want to work with you, either as a coach, as a customer, or even in your other capacities?
Sure. So my website is stacybest.com, and it's STACY, and then like you're the best, BEST.com. And the book is available there. It's just a little guidebook. I talk a lot about the whole reason this Garden for the Health of It started is because I created a program called Fit to Garden. So how to warm up before you head out to the garden. So if you're already a gardener, you know what I'm talking about. Spending time out there. I'm talking more landscape type gardening. It's a workout. So how to use proper gardening biomechanics so you don't hurt yourself, how to stretch a little bit afterwards, that sort of thing. So that book is available on the website. And then Christine, my Facebook page is now Stacy Best.
Yay! Cool. So Stacy is definitely building her coaching business and team. And obviously, if you want to reach out to her to have her help you with your programming and planning, always definitely reach out to her. You can find her Facebook page. As she said, it's Stacy Best. And that's always the best thing when you are choosing someone to work with. You're going to find that you definitely want to make sure that you connect with them. And we're different and we're a lot alike too, but we're not competing for customers, or if you will, because I know that the right people are going to align up with Stacy, and that's why I want them to reach out to her. And the same thing for me. If I'm someone that you align with, then I would invite you, of course, to reach out to myself. And you can go to thecoachedge.com if you want to find out more about what coaching is about. You don't need to put your email in. All you got to do is there's some videos there on that page so you can see what coaching is about. And if you want me to reach out to you, then of course put your info there. But we are grateful that you guys have been here to be able to discuss this. And I'm so glad, Stacy, that you gave us your honest background and all the little juicy myths and stereotypes, and kind of where you've come around to seeing how much easier and quicker your mornings are now.
Yeah, that's right. Amen.
I'm additionally going to be putting this audio over on the podcast, the Platinum Edge podcast. You'll be able to find that probably coming up next week as well. So if you want to share this with anyone that you've had this discussion with, I think this was a very valuable discussion, because again, we're not standing on one position that you have to do it this way or it's the wrong way. We just want you to just be very educated and make your best decision. Your best decision. All right. Thank you. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.